Hey, welcome to the channel. Jimmy McThrifty here to talk jeans. You've seen them everywhere. They're at every thrift store, estate sale, garage sale. Can these jeans be worth money? And of course, if you've been reselling for a while, you've realized they can, but which ones? And so that's what I'm here to help you with. And first, I'm going to start with some of those most rare, most expensive, but you sure don't want to pass up in an estate sale jeans because they could be worth hundreds and even thousands, yes, thousands of dollars. We can't talk about blue jeans without first talking about vintage Levi's 501s. Now, I've got a pair of 501s right here. These are not technically vintage. You'll see 501s always have the button fly. On the back tag will say 501. If they're really old, they may not have a tag. But the one thing that we want to look out for is if you're doing nothing else, you're at an estate sale, you say, hey, these look old. Look at that little red tag there. If that red tag has a capital E rather than a lowercase e, then you, my friend, have found some money. And I don't know much about Levi's 501s jeans. There are some YouTubers that know a lot more about this than I do. One of them is Loot Fam, and I'll put a link to his channel below. He has got more knowledge than you'll know what to do with when it comes to vintage Levi's 501s. Now, as I go through these different jeans, I want to tell you how many are listed, how many are sold, and what their sell-through rate is, because that's going to give you an idea of how quickly these will sell and if they're worth picking up to begin with. And so when it comes to vintage 501s, there are currently 14,000 listed and 6,000 sold with a 43% sell-through. Now, the next grail jeans to be on the lookout, they are rare, but you might find them, is called a Amiri. Amiri, I think it's Mike Amiri. I've never found these. I would love to find some. If you found some out in the wild, let us know. Let us know what they were able to sell for. But currently in used condition, there are 322 listed and 370 sold. 115% sell-through rate. That is a fast seller. That's a pair of jeans you don't turn best offer on. All right. Now here's another. This is the Ralph Lauren, the RRL, and you'll notice these by the back tag. One of the R's is backwards. These are pretty rare. These, I believe, are vintage. Right now, 739 listed, 590 sold for an 80% sell-through rate. These are something to be on the lookout for. Probably my favorite, if I could ever find them in the wild. They will be so easy to identify. If you were alive in the 90s, you know about Jinko jeans. These are the jeans that are big from top to bottom. These are pretty rare, and the sell-through rate, I think, is probably the best of any jeans on eBay. If you can find a better sell-through rate than Jinko jeans, let us know what those jeans are so that we can be on the lookout for those. But Jinko right now, 315 listed, 842 sold, a sell-through rate of 267%. If you find these, friends, make sure to do your research and get those listed as high as you can because they are going to sell and they are going to sell fast. Now, the next rare to be on the lookout for, I actually did come across a pair of these. These are Ed Hardy jeans, and they're very easy to identify because they're very flashy. Look at the back of those things. Found these in a storage unit, believe it or not, and man, was I excited when I looked these up. Ed Hardy jeans have a high sell-through rate. There are 622 currently listed, 697 sold, which means 112% sell-through rate. And so initially I had best offer turned on and I was getting lots of offers and I just said, forget it with a sell-through rate like that. I'm trying to get $90 for these jeans. If I get 90 bucks for these jeans, that'll be the highest priced jeans I've ever sold. And so these are the jeans that you might come across. They're somewhat rare, but you don't want to miss them if you do come across them. Now let's talk about some more common brands. These are jeans you're going to find. They're going to be at the thrifts. They're going to be at garage sales. They're going to be at the estate sales. They're easy to come by. I want to let you know what the sell-through rate is and what to look for. And I'm going to go in order of the best sell-through rate to the least sell-through rate. And so among common jeans, the best sell-through rate is these right here. These are Levi's Silver Tab jeans. and you'll know them by looking at the back of the tab, and it'll be silver. These aren't the older ones. You can tell by that black patch up there. Some of the older ones will have a different patch, but if you can find Levi's silver tab, pick them up because they have a great sell-through rate. Right now, there are 3,200 listed and 3,000 sold, 94% sell-through on Levi's silver tab. The next you want to look for is Rock Revival. These are pretty easy to see on the racks because they're very flashy. You'll see on the back tag there, got a lot of bling to them. These come in, I believe, men's and women's, and I found these also in a storage unit, but you'll be able to find them just about anywhere. But the sell-through on these is really good. 9,400 listed, 8,600 sold in the last 90 days, 91% sell-through rate. Be on the lookout for Rock Revival jeans. Next up is Diesel. It says Diesel Industry. You'll see it listed somewhere on the little patch there, or maybe on the back. This pair doesn't have it on the back, but if you see Diesel, be sure to pick those up if you can get them for the right price. Thrift stores have caught on to these brands as well, by the way, if you haven't noticed. And so sometimes it just doesn't make sense to buy them unless at least it's half off day. But these are Diesel jeans, and there are 22,000 listed, 12,000 sold for a 55% sell-through rate. Good jeans to sell for some decent money. Now here's a brand that's increasing in popularity. You've probably heard of it. This is Carhartt. You're going to see them come in two different styles. One is the dungaree style, the carpenter jeans. The other is just the traditional style. Maybe you can tell these are big sizes here. But you'll know Carhartt jeans by the back patch here. Don't pay too much for these, friends. In my experience, I might get 20 to 25 bucks for them, but if I can pick them up for a buck or two at a garage sale, I'll get them because they do sell pretty well. And so right now, Carhartt jeans in used condition, 26,000 listed, 11,000 sold, 42% sell-through rate. Next up, we've got True Religion, and these should be easy to identify because they've got a huge patch on the back. And so you'll see these at thrift stores pretty regularly. Again, thrift stores might overprice these, so don't be paying more than, $6 or $8 for these things because it just won't be worth it. But right now, 28,000 listed, 11,000 sold, 39% sell-through rate on True Religion jeans. Pick those up if you can. Now, I know these aren't technically jeans, but this is a great brand to be aware of. This is Duluth Trading Company, and sometimes you just have to look inside. They'll have writing here on the back. Their sizes and tags will be inside there. They're a workwear company similar to Carhartt, and sometimes the thrift stores won't realize that these are actually valuable. You can pick them up pretty cheap. Right now, 6,000 listed, 2,000 sold for a 33% sell-through. And last up, just worth mentioning, I've sold several pairs of these. You probably have too. This is just silver jeans. Don't pay too much for these, friends. It's just not worth it. But I've been to so many garage sales where they'll have 10, 15, 20 pairs of these. If you can get them up for a reasonable price, they do sell. Right now, 37,000 listed, 11,000 sold, 30% sell-through rate on those. One other one that I meant to mention, and I had it off to the side, is actually Levi's 501s that aren't vintage. Even if they're not vintage, the sell-through is incredible on these. And so they're real easy to spot. When you're going down the racks, just look at the patch. If it says 501, look a little further. If it doesn't say 501, I just keep going. I don't know about you guys. But if it is 501s, in fact, this very pair has already sold. And so 42,000 listed, 18,000 sold, 43% sell-through rate on just regular Levi's 501s. And so there you have it, folks. Those are some of the brands that I look out for and try to sell in my eBay store. And I hope those brands are something that you can be on the lookout for and make some sales yourself. Well, one of the great things about YouTube is we can learn from each other. So I'd love to hear from you. What jeans have you been able to find and resell for a profit? Comment those down below. Give us an idea of what jeans we could be looking out for as we're going to thrifts and garage sales, that we could sell those for a profit. Lastly, I just want to cover a few things that I've learned over the last few years of selling jeans. Hopefully this will help some of you. Some things that I want to check when I'm buying jeans. The first thing is you want to make sure that you have the size on a tag. Look everywhere. There's nothing worse than getting home with a pair of jeans and finding out you have no idea what size they are. And I know you can measure them, and I probably should, but what I end up doing is I just end up redonating them, and it's just a loss. And so you want to make sure that there is a size tag in there before you buy them. Another thing to look for is the belt loops, especially on the back. Sometimes one will be ripped. You want to pay attention to that. It might be a deal breaker. It might not. Another thing is to look for wear. You're going to look especially like in the crotch and right here at the end. Pay attention to that. Speaking of the ends, this has happened to me a time or two. People will hem their jeans. Maybe they're shorter than the jeans originally were, and you don't realize that until you get home with them. And I don't know about you, but I don't sell hemmed jeans. And so if that's the case, you want to notice that before you get them home. And I suppose maybe one other thing worth mentioning, and I'm not great at this, is when you do look at tags, there are fake jeans out there. I've seen fake Levi's. I don't really understand it, but there could be some fakes. And so you just want to kind of do your research and look through them thoroughly to make sure that you can sell them. Because if you can't sell them, well, then don't buy them. One other thing worth mentioning is when you go to list them, take actual measurements, because denim does shrink. And so what I'll do is I'll just take a yardstick and I'll measure the waist, I'll measure the inseam, and maybe even the length as well. So I always put the size on the tag in the description, and then I'll somewhere in there put the actual size that is measured. And that'll help people, and hopefully you won't get so many returns. Another thing that I want to mention is how to ship these. It's so easy, it's so nice, is almost all jeans go in one of these. This is a padded U.S. priority flat rate envelope. As of the recording right now, it's $8.30. And so I actually fold up the jeans, I put them in here, and I don't know if you can see that from there, but I have a label number that's going to go in my custom SKU. So the number is there, and then it's going to go into a tote. And you can get about 20 pairs of jeans into a tote. And of course, on the outside of the tote, you want to label which SKU numbers are in there, and you'll condense it, and you'll have to make some adjustments to that. But this is a simple way to organize the jeans and to store them. And then when it's time to ship, all you got to do is take off that seal and they're ready to go. Maybe a couple strategies if you love blue jeans and you just want to go all in on blue jeans. I haven't done this, I've thought about it, but if I were to do it, the best strategy would probably be to go to the bins where you pay by the weight. Now, most pairs of jeans weigh over a pound, so maybe 2 pounds. And so depending on how much it costs per pound at your bins, you know, you're probably paying about $3 for a pair of jeans. And at that point, it just becomes a volume game. And you can even sell mall brands like Abercrombie and Fitch and American Eagle and just regular Levi's and this kind of thing. And so you're just trying to sell as many as possible, and assuming you have room to store these, because they're not going to sell fast, but they will sell. And if you go to the bins and you're coming home each day with 50 pairs of jeans, that will start to stack up, but eventually you'll really start making some good money on that. Even if you're only making $5 to $10 a pair, it can really add up. And another thing that could add to that strategy is if you charge the end user for $2 more than you pay, you get a shipping discount on these. I'm charged $8.30 on this. What I would do is I would charge $10.30 for a padded flat rate to the end consumer, and $2 for each pair of jeans. You know, if you're selling 50 pairs, that's what, $100? 100 pairs, that's $200. And so that could quickly add up. And so that would be a great way to go about sourcing jeans and making money off of jeans, if that's something that you want to go head into. And what I've heard is people that are strictly jean sellers is they find a lot of those vintage 501s at the bins. And so maybe you'll have more luck finding some of those grail jeans that we talked about earlier. And so, well, that's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you found value in this. Again, share with the group, what jeans have you been able to find and sell? What should we be looking out for? If this has been helpful to you, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for our next video. Here's a little teaser. In our next video, we're going to be covering a men's clothing item that sells like crazy that nobody is talking about. If you want to stay tuned for that one, hit the bell notification and you'll be notified when that video comes out. Hey, thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day.